Hey everybody, it's John Johnston Coordination with the question about Nebraska football 2023 that no one else is asking. The most interesting question, and that is which side of the ball is going to rule in 2023. And it's morning before I've had a lot of coffee, and I'm not apologizing for that horrible, horrible joke. If you look over the past many Nebraska football coaches we've had kind of had an idea of what to expect from our football team with regards to who's going to win games. And when I say who, I mean the offense or the defense. And if you go all the way back, obviously Tom Osborne was an offensive genius. And I'm not dismissing the black shirt defense. They were good most of the time. They have their own nickname, but Tom Osborne was known as an offensive genius, is still known. I mean, it's not like he's gone. Solich, kind of the same thing. I'd say that the people looked at the offensive side of the ball and said, we expect the offense to carry the team. Callahan, obviously offense, because Kevin Cosgrove was really terrible at defending anything except Big Ten traditional offenses. Pelini was supposed to be a defensive master and then got blown out in really big games. Mike Riley, who the hell knows what that guy? I don't know. I just know that he was like, what? We hired this guy, and then he was gone in a real short time. The other guy we just fired, he was supposed to be an offensive guru. And in today's terms, that means scoring about 40 points a game. So we come to Matt Rule, and our first season with him as our overlord and new master. And you kind of look at this and you go, which side of the ball is going to be more dominant? And I think that's interesting to discuss just because, well, nobody else is talking about it. And I think when you look at the game, the old standby narrative is defense wins championships. I'm not sure that is true anymore because they've changed the rules so much that they've skewered the defense and neutered the defense to the point that it's very difficult to actually play really good defense compared to what it was, well, in the 90s, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Let's take a look at the offense and let's go through a bit of the past, even though it's painful. This is scoring offense, Nebraska's scoring offense over the past few years. So 2022, 102nd, 2021, 71st, 2019, because I'm skipping the pandemic year with these, 72nd in scoring offense, 2018, 58th. So never was a time at which the Frost offense really took off and really scored a lot of points. I always said that we needed to be scoring 40 points a game to be successful because that's, for example, if you go back to last year's one of the college football playoffs games, Georgia, Ohio State, what was the score? 42-41. That's a lot of points. That's where you need to be if you're going to be very successful on offense. The biggest question mark about this team is obviously that we're going into a season with the same offensive line coach that produced, 102nd in the nation in scoring offense last year. And is he going to be able to produce an offensive line that's going to be able to push people off the ball? And here's the key to this for Nebraska's offense. Can they extend possessions? And what that means is, can they get a 3rd and 2? Can they pick up 3rd and 4? Can they stay on the field and extend possessions? Because that's going to be very important against most of our Big Ten opponents. I'll get to more of that in a little bit. We mostly have the same offensive line that we've had last year. We'll have Nuruddin Nuili back from suspension. Ben Scott's in. But you got, Turner Corcoran, Bryce Benhart, Teddy Prohaska is probably amongst the starters. Ethan Piper. Really the same guys. Mostly. Can our Royola offensive line coach turn those guys into ground and pound type guys? Can they, like I said, extend possessions? Are they going to be explosive play offense? We really don't know. I mean, we've heard some talk about this, but there's not been a lot of discussion about, do we expect more than 25 points a game? Because that puts you, right, I think, probably around 60th or 70th right now nationally. And is that going to be enough? Because if that's enough, that means that the defense, the 3-3-5 defense that we've kind of thought was goofy and won't work in the Big Ten, Wisconsin's running the same defense. I've heard Adam Carricker say it's a 3-4 with just a different alignment or a different group of guys. I don't think it matters what the scheme is. I think it matters when you look at our opponents. Can we on defense, can we as Nebraska, yes, I say that we, because I'm an alum, can we limit possessions? I mean, if you look at, for example, the first game of the season, it's going to be against Minnesota. What does Minnesota do? Minnesota extends possessions very well. They get on third down, they pick up, they had Mo Ibrahim, and they pick up first downs. That's what they do. They do it pretty well. Now, when we're playing Minnesota, can we limit those possessions? Can we get them off the field on a short third down or third and long for that matter? And that's going to be key, obviously, to success. In the Big Ten, particularly, because, I mean, when you look at it, you got Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan, Iowa, Northwestern, kind of, whatever they have. Sparty, we're going to play Michigan State, and Maryland to a certain extent, not as much. But all of those teams, it's going to be important if we're going to win those games for us to limit the other team's possessions. And if you limit them on defense, you get more possessions on offense, obviously. So when you look at that, that's the defensive line. Ty Robinson, Elijah Judy, A.J. Rollins, Cameron Lenart, Nut Masher. I'm never going to get that guy's name right. Princeville. That guy, too, I need to learn how to pronounce his name before the season starts just because out of respect for him. If you look at Nebraska's defense, rush defense, over the past few years, it's pretty horrifying as well. 2022, 108th. 2021, 58th. Not too terrible. Well, I mean, not terrible compared to the others. In 2019, skipping the pandemic year again, 94th, 2018, 96th. Nebraska, in order to have a successful season, has to take an offense last year that was 102nd in scoring offense and a defense that was 108th in rush defense. And they have to make amazing, tremendous leaps in both of those categories for this to be a successful season for Nebraska. And how do we define success? I define success as getting to a bowl game because I'm not setting expectations through the roof just so I can be disappointed. But which side of the ball do you think is going to do a better job? That's the question that nobody's really talking about, and I don't think anybody's really got answers for. And I think that is kind of, for me, one of the most interesting questions about this 2023 football season. So leave me comments about which side of the ball do you think is going to be better? Which side of the ball do you look to this season to win games for our beloved Nebraska Cornhuskers? That's the question I'm asking in this video. Please help us by subscribing to this channel, telling your friends. I'd like to get to 10,000 subscribers this season. Pick up a Corn Nation t-shirt to support us. Join the Corn Nation cult or band of merry people. Thank you very much, and go Big Red.